What is this thing? It moves similar to a pair of scissors opening and closing. I found a shoebox full of these in my grandparents' attic, and I don't know why there is a shoebox full, maybe 50 of them in the box. It says December 1863 on the other side. It is spring-loaded to return to this position. And as you can see in the picture, they aren't very big. Maybe it's for crimping noodles or hair. Any ideas? It's an antique window sash fastener, patented December 8, 1963, by Charles B. Clark of Mount Pleasant, Iowa. It was used for securing window sash at any desired point of elevation. As the sash is raised, the cylinder above rolls down into the wedge-shaped opening and impinges both on the flange and window strip, thereby crowding the opposite edge of the sash against the jamb or window frame, so firmly as to resist further elevation of the sash. What is this cast iron object, labeled J.S. Buck and patented December 14, 1880? I've Googled every single combination of those words and numbers and nothing. It was found in my wife's grandfather's workshop in East Tennessee. It weighs approximately 25 pounds, and the hole at the top is a very specific shape. Whatever goes inside of that is very precise. Any idea what it is for? It's an amalgamating mortar. Patented December 14, 1880 by Joshua S. Buck of Oakland, California. It was used for grinding, mixing, stirring, kneading, emulsifying, whipping, or beating foodstuffs. The muller is made of cast iron with a handle that would be fitted into the top of the muller. Apparently, this particular item is made especially for work in connection with the Robertson process for reducing ores and sulfurets. What is this hollow metal I found in an old garage? It has 3 little bumps on each side. It doesn't appear to be able to open in any way, although it might just be seized. It appears to be galvanized steel, and no markings at all that I can find. The garage it was from is on an old farm, so maybe from an old farm vehicle. Does anyone have any idea what it is? It's a float from a 1920s cream separator. It's tin-plated and floats in milk. Tin plating was easy to boil after use, and the cones were similar tin-plated things. I have one at home. I never dreamed that spending hours of my childhood cleaning that stupid separator would come in handy one day. My grandfather died last year. This is hung at my grandmother's house. He served in the military. My grandmother says that other soldiers would try to take it from him. What is this thing? It's a gimlet stick, an ancient tool used to bore holes in rock for dynamite, thus cutting away sides of entire mountains to make room for railroad tracks or roadways. In 1921, a group of about 20 men, organized under the leadership of Private Eugene Riley, E Company 21st Infantry Regiment, for the purpose of supporting the regimental athletic teams. This group called themselves the Gimlet Club of Royal Rooters and had for its motto, "Bore Brother Bore." The ancient gimlet tool became the iconic symbol of toughness for the Royal Rooters, thus the regimental nickname Gimlet. The gimlet stick is recognized by the Department of Heraldry as part of the gimlet uniform, for those who have successfully earned the right to wear it. I found this among my grandfather's personal things. He lived from 1924 to 2017, but I don't know when it is from. He was a doctor, and also in the Navy if that helps. Any idea what its purpose is? It's a spring-loaded coin holder. It should hold nickels and dimes. These were popular around the turn of the last century. It would be often worn on a gentleman Albert chain and kept in a waistcoat pocket. The coins would be stacked tightly together by a spring action mechanism. A case usually holds about 5 or 6 coins in a compartment. Would anyone happen to know what this uniform is? This is my great-great-grandfather, or great-great-great-grandfather. I talked to my Nana and she said that it is Kaiser. I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. I'm looking forward to someone figuring it out. Museum curator here. This is a Prussian uniform from around 1912, just before the First World War. The tunic would have been dark blue and the pants black. The stand collar, epaulets, sleeve cuffs, and cap band would have been red. The lanyard with one acorn is for skill in marksmanship. Here is a preserved example. As far as I can tell, it's an infantry uniform. That patch on his arm would have had a number on it, indicating the regiment he belonged to, as would his epaulets. That's really the only distinguishing feature, which unfortunately the photo's perspective does not allow you to see. What is this tool I found in an old house? It has pivoting claws attached to a metal band handle. It looks like a practical tool for something. Any ideas? It's a 1940s spring-loaded frog gig or fish gaff. To open this gaff, one must pull the jaws apart and it snaps into the open position. When the 5-finger fork in the center of the gaff is pressed against the fish, the jaws spring shut with a powerful bite. This World War I mini Christmas tree was allegedly gifted to my great-great-grandfather during the Christmas ceasefire in France. He was a German fighting in France, and he wrote on the box, 1914 War France, with his name. Any history buffs know if this is a common thing? It's likely a Christmas tree from the 1914 Christmas truce. The weather that December 1914 was cold and wet. Many of the trenches were continually flooded, and soldiers were covered in mud and exposed to frostbite. They were dreading having to spend Christmas away from their families. Then something incredible happened on December 24th, 1914. Soldiers from both sides put down their weapons and stepped out of their trenches, and the enemy really did meet the enemy between the trenches. For a short time, there was peace. There were many truces along the Western Front that Christmas. There were even arrangements which included a ruling as to when the truce would end. Along many parts of the front line, the truce was brought about by the arrival of miniature Christmas trees in the German trenches. Jovial voices could be heard calling out from both friendly and enemy trenches, followed by requests not to fire. And then shadows of soldiers could be seen gathering in no man's land, laughing, joking, and exchanging gifts. Little things like food, tobacco, and alcohol, then souvenirs, uniform buttons, spiked helmets, and British caps. The artillery guns had fallen silent. The bodies were gathered, and some joint burial services were held. Getting the men to kill each other again was hard. Some truces lasted until New Year's Day 1915. There are accounts of football matches being played in no man's land between British and German troops. The result, the Germans won 4-1, but inevitably under pressure from senior officers, particularly the generals who perhaps feared their men might lose all interest in killing their opponents, especially after meeting them in person. The truces came to an end, and the slaughter resumed. Never again did Christmas truces occur in World War I, but the fact that it did happen in 1914 was remarkable and something important to remember at Christmas. This was my grandfather's, and he passed before I could ask him its history. It's made of fabric and thread. The ships appear to be World War I era dreadnoughts. Has anyone seen one or know the backstory? Please let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.